Good morning and welcome back to the Farm2Table Show morning edition and welcome to Freedom Week. This week we're leaning hard into what it means to be truly free, not in theory, not in slogans, but in the gritty, practical reality of everyday life. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. You can't call yourself free if you can't feed yourself. You can't call yourself free if your family goes cold without a delivery truck. And you can't call yourself free if your day is owned by someone else's priorities. And that's where we begin today. Freedom starts at home. True independence begins with taking ownership of your food, energy, and time. The founding spirit of America wasn't dependent on systems, it was courageous, capable citizens building something from the ground up. Today's episode again, Freedom Starts at Home, why self-reliance is the purest form of patriotism. In your backyard, in your pantry, in the quiet decisions you make that say, I will not be owned by this system. Folks, we've been sold a lie that freedom is something that other people fight for, that is handed down from the government or protected by the courts. But a homesteader knows better. The freest people are the most responsible people, and that's who we're becoming. So today, we're digging deep into the forgotten roots of self-reliance as patriotism, not as politics, not as protest, but as proof you are not owned. Now let's take a look back. The original homesteaders were patriots. The Homestead Act of 1862 gave citizens land in exchange for hard work and stewardship. Founding fathers like Thomas Jefferson believed that liberty was safest in the hands of farmers. Early American settlers didn't ask for permission. They planted, preserved, built, and bartered. Don't tread on me wasn't a slogan. It was a lifestyle. Our history, it's not about laws. In fact, we suffer more from those. It's about land, labor, and legacy. When you grow your own, you protect your own. Now, let's look at how dependence keeps us weak. Convenience is the new chain. From food delivery to digital dependence, we've traded freedom for ease. 80% of Americans can't last a week without the grocery store. Supply chains, tech reliance, and grid dependency, that's soft slavery. What you don't control controls you. And if you can't be free, you can't be free if you don't own the basics of life. And that is their plan. So let's look at this. Let's look at 5 self-reliant acts of patriotism. Grow something. A tomato on the porch is a seed of liberty. Anything you can grow for yourself and feed yourself, then you're not dependent. Preserve your food. Every jar you can, that's a vote for your own sovereignty. Heating independently, whether it's wood heat, solar, propane backup. That way you're unbothered when the grid goes down. That's a big thing. Redundancy is key there. We don't necessarily say you don't have to be on the grid. Just have a plan. Be ready. And guess what? Get off prescription dependency. And I know that's going to touch a lot of people, myself included. We have medicines we take because of things that have been caused by medical issues, our diets, etc. But herbal and food-based healing is rebellion in a pill-pushing world. If the first thing your doctor wants to do is prescribe you a pill, you might want to consider looking into alternative means, getting second opinions. Just say it. Number 5, and this is important. Oh my goodness. Teach your kids and your grandkids. The next revolution won't be televised. It'll be taught around the kitchen table. It'll be us talking about how things were and how things can be. It'll be us talking because they're not going to teach it in school. That's why so many homeschool, and I encourage it. That's right. The modern mainstream media can't be trusted, and they're not going to tell you the truth, and that's the problem. So here's you a challenge. Pick one Freedom Act and start today. Because freedom doesn't require acreage. It just requires action. So let's talk about a family of 5 in Oklahoma cut ties with food stamps by converting their backyard into a micro farm. They started with chickens in a raised bed, and today 70% of their food comes from their land. No more waiting in line at big box stores, trading, bartering, building. That's not just surviving, that's thriving. Now listen to this. When we stopped depending on the system, we finally saw what it meant to live free. It wasn't always easy, but it was ours. So listeners, Could you feed your family for 30 days without the store? I don't think I could right now. Could you heat your home without a call to the utility company? Now that I can do. Could you make medicine without a prescription? Be a challenge. And could you teach your freedom to your kids because they won't learn it at school? Certainly, our grandkids, our children. Because freedom isn't a flag on a pole. It's a shovel in the dirt, a jar on the shelf, and a child watching you live what others only post about. And it starts at home. So let's reclaim it together. So let's look at some 5-day freedom from dependence. Day 1, cook one full meal using only ingredients you grew, raised, or preserved. Now, if you haven't grown any of that, go buy it at the farmer's market. They're in full swing right now. But the main thing is get in your kitchen and start cooking. Try this one out for size. Turn off the grid for 3 hours. Light with candles or solar. No internet? What would you do? And maybe, you know what? Create a barter trade with a neighbor or friend. Start up a journal, maybe. What I could do if I had to. And start really kind of working through things. And then finally, of course, as we talked about mentoring last week, teach your kids or your grandkids just one self-reliant skill. That'll give you a summer challenge right there. That can keep a person busy all summer long doing these things. All right. So let's remember this. As I said before, true independence begins with taking ownership of your food, your energy, and your time. The founding spirit of America wasn't dependent on systems. It was courageous, capable citizens building something from the ground up. And that, my friends, is what we're doing here, because freedom starts at home. Well, that was a very short one. I read through it way too fast, folks. I'm going to tell you. I record way too fast. But that's okay. It's all right. It's Monday. We're kicking off Freedom Week here on the Farm to Table Show, morning edition. Now, many of you are aware things are changing at the end of this week. But we thought, you know what? Let's celebrate freedom in the meantime. Let's talk about what it truly means to free. And that means looking back on history. That means looking at our systems. That means asking ourselves what could be, or even worse question, what would happen if? And that's where we need to be at with this. That's where we need to be at in looking at our systems and looking at the dependence. And we're going to talk more this week on different subjects related to that. And I will tell you, folks, it's going to get real, okay? Freedom is just one step away from being gone. And some would already say it's already gone in this country. I don't believe that because I think it's on the individual and the community. And no other community I know exhibits the characteristics of freedom than the homesteading community combined with the prepping community and the Christian community that's there. And I'm telling you, folks, that's how it's done. One house, one family at a time. We talked about the 7 steps to self-reliance for the last 7 weeks. And we're going to get that together where you can have that in a format you can use. But each of those steps are so crucial. But it's all centered around food freedom, not being dependent on systems, being able to survive when things happen. And I'm not talking apocalyptic things. I'm just talking simple things that happen in nature, whether it's a tornado, a fire, a hurricane, earthquakes, supply chain disruptions, maybe another thing like what happened in 2020. We don't really know. But the more prepared we are, the more independent we are, the more free from those systems we are, the less that's going to bother us. I've said it on this show many times, and I believe this truthfully in my heart. If you look back to that time and you look at who was the least affected, and it was people who had the ability to grow their own food, provide for themselves on their home, not dependent on the supply systems, not dependent on all of those things. Those were the people, and those were homesteaders, those were farmers and ranchers, those were people who produced their own. They didn't experience it the same way. You know, and I've read account after account from different homesteaders. And the most recent one, of course, was, talking about during Hurricane Helene and how they weren't affected the same way that others were because they had prepared, they had stuff. You know, and I talked about that on the previous episodes. And I think there's just so much truth to that when we look at those things and we say, okay, how can I do better? And that's the way. You know, I remember reading Joel Salatin's book and him talking about the same thing. It affected them, yes, but in a different kind of way. It wasn't on their farm. It wasn't their food. It wasn't their security. And it was some of their business, some of their finance because of restaurants and whatnot. But like I said, true freedom starts at home, around the dinner table, around the stove in the kitchen in there, around a conversation around an open fireplace, sitting on the front porch, with your family or your neighbors. That's where freedom starts. And that's where you need to go with it, folks. That's where you need to go. Well, good Monday morning. It is Monday, the 30th day of June, 2025, the last day of June. Tomorrow is July 1st, and we are halfway through the year, folks. Halfway through the year. And, well, we still got rain and storms and coming around here and there. But, boy, is it hot. It's supposed to cool a little, but it's hot. And, well, for my friends that are in the chat, good morning. Glad to see you all in there. Know you're here. But if you haven't figured it out, it's a Memorex Monday. Unfortunately, the schedule came out Saturday night, and I have to be into work, about showtime. And so I had to Memorex this one. But I know that Bro is in the chat, keeping things going, keeping things lively. I know that all of you are there. Scotty was probably there to turn the lights on, maybe some scripture. And I so wish I was with y'all to do this and be live. But we do things the best we can with what we got at times. And those that were on the show Friday, you got the news that this is the last week of the morning edition, Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. We will finish the week out, and then we're going to begin going, Keith and I together, Saturday mornings at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, one time a week. My work schedule has just become too volatile, as is demonstrated by the fact that this is Memorex Ryan. I'm also, and as I shared with them, starting up a business. It's going to require a certain amount of time. And, yesterday also assumed, interim duties as preacher at my church, while our pastor preacher had to step away for a period of time for some medical reasons and spiritual sabbatical, if you will, taking a break. But anyway, we'll see how long that lasts. I don't know, but anyway, so that's an additional thing going on Sunday. So having to streamline the schedule a little bit, make changes to things here and there, and of course the business plan in an effort to gain more flexibility, gain more ability to manipulate my schedule where need be. And that's going to take some time and energy. And we felt that, we could go to this once a week. If things change in the future, we may be able to go back to a daily live. But for now, we're going to switch to once a week on Saturday, Keith and myself both live, and an occasional guest on. And we'll keep the same format where I come in and talk about a particular monologue, talk about a particular thing, and then we'll break and we'll talk with you in chat and to each other and interact with that. I encourage each of you to continue to be with us. We appreciate your loyalty. We appreciate you being with us. But anyway, that will be starting. So this week is Freedom Week. As we said, we're going to talk about freedom all week because, well, Friday is the 4th of July, the day that we celebrate our nation's independence, the day we celebrate the beginnings of the Declaration of Independence and the beginning of our country as the United States of America instead of just the colonies of England. But anyway, we'll talk more about that and how it applies to the homesteaders and how it applies to the history of freedom and what it means in this country. So hope you stay with us this week. I hope you stay there. I hope everybody's doing well. Hope you all had a great weekend. My weekend was literally one day. I worked until Saturday evening, and then spent part of Saturday evening and part of today working with my son-in-law, working on trying to get his truck running. Didn't succeed, but we worked on it. But anyway, so I really hadn't had much of a weekend. It was way too fast and way too busy. So I'm going into this week just as tired as when I left Saturday. So pray for me. Continued prayers for Jack and Scotty and some of us that have dealt with some health issues recently. And of course, continue to pray for our country in that regards. But anyway, I hope this, like I said, I hope this finds you all as well as can be. I hope you all had a great weekend. Maybe got some things done or got some fishing in or, hanging out, doing your thing. So Today will be a shorter episode, just simply because the topic was shorter today. I didn't get it built out in my usual fashion, partly because of the time that I had to do it. And when you have to build a sermon on top of then doing this, and like I said, that's where the problem is coming, is that too many hats, and I need to pull back in some areas. And I do hate that, but it is what's necessary at this point in this season in my life. And Keith and I have a lot of great projects, and we plan on keeping the Farm to Table Show going, as well as continuing to work on other things behind the scenes. And we just, like I said, we just want to express our gratitude. We're going to be doing that all week. I'll say it all week long. You'll probably get tired of me hearing how much I appreciate each and every one of you, and you're sticking with us. Looking over here at the upcoming events list. I'm looking over here at some of the other stuff, but let's go over. I'm going to get on to, let's see if we can get this computer working. I'm going to go over here. Let's see. So no roll call, although I think everybody's probably in here. No redneck weather report today. So go on over to Dyer Family Farm. Check out Redneck Weather Report and see what Jack's got to say about the weather. I know what it is here. It's a little bit wet and it's a whole lot of hot, but hopefully y'all are having maybe hot, but hopefully you're staying cool, dry, and your weather is going good. So let's get into today's brain buster. Now here's the question, and I got to say this real slow because if I don't, I'll get tongue-tied on this. So y'all follow along. Are oranges named oranges because oranges are orange, or is orange named orange because oranges are orange? Did you get that? Did y'all get all that? Did you get that madness? I want to try that again because that is crazy. Are oranges named oranges because oranges are orange, or is orange named orange because oranges are orange? That there will get you scratching your head all day long on that one. What a great way to start a Monday, Ryan. Just right out the gate with hitting us with something like that. Man, what a guy. Anyway, if somebody's got an answer, let Keith know so he can let me know, because I don't have an answer. So let's see. Let's move on. I hope y'all are laughing about that. Quote of the day. When a man is denied the right to live the life he believes in, he has no choice but to become an outlaw. Nelson Mandela said that. I'm going to repeat that again. That's so nice. I'm going to say it twice. When a man is denied the right to live the life he believes in, he has no choice but to become an outlaw. That was Nelson Mandela. So my question to you this morning is, how many of you are outlaws? Because there's some people who wouldn't want us living the life we want to live. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do about it? Are we going to live a life of freedom? And that may make us an outlaw. Or we're going to kowtow and bow down to the powers that be. Each one has to decide for themselves. But I know this, the more free you are, the more independent your systems are, the ability that you have to produce food and survive on your own, the greater you have the ability to not be subject to the powers that be, that may wish to stop you from doing and living the life you want to live. So there you have it, folks. All right. Wow. My list of upcoming events is getting way shorter. And I mean way shorter. I've only got 3, but I'm going to add a 4th one in. Okay, Modern Homesteading Conference was this past weekend. Sounded like it was a great time. Coming up September 5th and 6th, and I know that's still 2 months away, but it will fly, and you need to get your tickets now. Ozarks Homesteading Expo, September 5th and 6th in Marshville, Missouri. I did see a thing the other day. They're accepting applications for volunteers. Now, that gets a free weekend pass and a T-shirt and everything else. So if you're like with Oki and other places, if you're willing to volunteer and put in time, of course, that gets you entrance, that gets your shirt, and gets you to be a part of it all weekend long. But you can go to Ozarks Homesteading Expo.com, or you can find them on Facebook. Just Google them up. You'll find it. But anyway, I did see that they are accepting volunteer applications. So if you're wanting to go, that's a good way to get in there and really experience it on a different kind of level. So anyway, coming up then at Oklahoma Homestead Rendezvous, September 26th through 27th, Southeast Expo Center, McAllister, Oklahoma. Again, continuing to build excitement. I know we haven't started working on the volunteers, but if you want to volunteer, it'd be appreciated because it does take an army to put these things on. But anyway, everybody's getting super excited about that. It's growing, so many things developing around it, and just super looking forward to that. And of course, Homesteaders of America Conference, October 10th and 11th in Front Royal, Virginia. Tickets are sold out, but I don't know. Things might develop. I might have to check into that. Always keep up on it. Go onto there to Homesteaders of America and just Google search that, and you can find information out about it and other events that they have coming up. They have several events through the year. And maybe one closer to you than you think. And I promise you it's worth the trip and worth great organization. But anyway, so hope everybody has enjoyed that, got all that information. Heading into the dog days of summer, and we'll see what we can come up with to talk about. Because, some people started harvesting already. There's a lot of things going on, protecting from the rain. I seen Terry from TNT had gotten his chicken run worked on. Did catch a post on that on Facebook. But anyway, things are happening in the homestead world, and just let everybody know what you're up to. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up today. And so that is a wrap today on the Farm to Table Show morning edition. Thanks for joining us as we strive towards building stronger communities for now and in the future. If you enjoyed today's episode, give us the old thumbs up. Tell us you like it. Let us know what's going on. Share it with your friends. And if you're not already, subscribe to our channels on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Rumble. It is, of course, the best way to stay connected and help grow the conversation about food, farming, and community. So until next time, keep your roots deep and your vision growing. Good food starts with great people, just like you. Remember, we are stronger together. Connect and grow. Think outside the big box store, shop local. Tablers unite. And this week is freedom. All right, tomorrow maybe have a hashtag. I got one right on my head. Anyway, so all them hashtags, and I'm sure y'all are popping them off over there and having a good time in the chat without me. But hopefully, we'll see what the schedule holds. But hopefully, I'll be able to get in live this week, so I'm with y'all. Anyway, be a blessing to someone today, even if it's just a smile or a wave. You might be the bright spot in their day. So I appreciate you again, all for tuning in, and for the replay crew who catches it later. Love you guys too. Glad you're in with us. And hope you enjoyed the show, and just kind of hope you enjoyed this first call to freedom. The next 3 days, we'll flesh this out some more. And Friday, of course, Front Porch Friday for the last time for now. And then we'll talk about where we're going from here with the Saturdays. So anyway, again, be a blessing. We will see you all on the other side. I'm going to hand this to Hank to take us on out of here. So take it away, Hank.
No humans were harmed in the production of this podcast.